What's up, YouTube? We got another guitar lesson video for you today. Today we're talking about fingerstyle guitar. So playing the guitar with your fingers instead of a pick. It's a great technique to know, and this is for beginners too. So I'm going to show you 4 very simple patterns that'll get you started with playing fingerstyle guitar. And one more thing, you should probably know a few chords before doing this video. We're going to learn the basic techniques that you'll need to know to get started with fingerstyle guitar. Alright, so let's jump in. So the basic idea you want to do for playing fingerstyle guitar is you want to do one finger for each string. So I'm just going to hold a D chord right now, and I'm going to pick with my fingers. Thumb will play the D string, the index finger will play the G string, middle finger will play the B string, and the ring finger is going to play the high E. So something like this. So each finger plays one. Make sure you're not going like... You don't want to lift your fingers or your hand off of the guitar too far. You want to stay really close. Like, even I'll sit my hand on the bridge here. And you also want to do what I like to think of as like a claw hand. So the fingers are naturally going to be holding each string, almost like a claw. Like, if you look at it like that, that's what it looks like. That's coincidentally the first pattern we're going to do. Here's pattern number 1. We're going to play ascending strings with a D chord. So I'm holding a D chord with my left hand. So try playing that back and forth. And go as slow as you need to. And just make sure that your fingers aren't going far away from the guitar. In fact, you kind of bring them inward. The thumb is just going to do that. The fingers kind of come up. If you can do that at least like 4 or 8 times in a row. That's it a little faster. So this is your first pattern, and just keep in mind, make sure that your chord in your left hand sounds good and there's no muted notes, because that'll affect everything really. You can kind of like roll the fingers in. That's a really fast way, but that's kind of just releasing each finger in order. So that's an ascending thing too, but we're basically just going to do the... Hopefully that's not too hard to understand. The next one, pattern number 2, is going to be the opposite of that. So a descending. Still going to play a D chord, but we're going to go from the fingers to the thumb like that. So from the high E string down to the D. Where my thumb meets my palm, that's resting on the lower strings. And I'm keeping my whole arm like attached to the guitar. It's not free floating. That might make it harder. So there's your pattern number 2, descending. Again, just go slow if you have to. Well, it's not a race. In fact, a lot of fingerstyle songs tend to be slower songs, especially in the pop and rock world and country. A third pattern you can do is just simply all of the fingers at the same time. And a lot of times this would be accompanied by muted string sound. So I'm going to play all 4 strings at the same time and bring it back down. I'll play a little progression here. We're going to do a D, A, G, A. So when doing that, on the D chord, I'm playing the way that I showed you guys, the top 4 strings. On the A chord, so you always want to do the thumb will play the lowest string that you would play in the chord. So on the A chord, the thumb is on the A string. I'm not skipping any strings. So I'm doing the A, D, G, B strings for the A chord. On the G chord, I'm actually doing the low E and then the D, G, and B strings. You could do, if you wanted, the lower 4 strings, but I find I prefer it this way. So with the low E, D, G, and B. On the G chord, it just gives you a better voice leading thing. So again, D, A, G, A chords, all the strings at the same time. You've probably heard some pop songs do this. So I said in another video, the most common chord progression was G, D, E minor, C. Let's see if you've heard a song like this, a pop song. Or I'll start it on the E minor. E minor, C, G, D. Probably have heard something like that. All right, and then the 4th pattern is you're going to play the thumb and then the rest of the fingers. This is another common one probably for pop. I'm going to try the same progression as I did before. E minor, C, G, D. And we're going to see if you've heard any pop songs like that. Sounds familiar probably. I hope you guys know some of these chords already. If you don't know these chords yet, check out my other video, the first 8 guitar chords you should learn. And that should cover the chords that we're using in this. Once again, just try to play the thumb and then the fingers. So that's 4 basic patterns. I'm sure you've heard these in songs before. You could mix it up too, so you could go up and down, like the first pattern and the second pattern. Do something like this. We're still going to be on a D chord. If you've heard the song Hallelujah, they do that kind of pattern for most of it, and then some of them are just ascending. Anyway, it's not a video about that song, but that's another way to mix it up. We want to learn the basics, and then we want to get more involved. Another thing you could do is like they do descending, but you'll play the first 2 notes at the same time. So on a D chord still, I'm going to play the D and the high E strings at the same time, and then descend. Hopefully you guys can just understand now how it works. If you look up some songs that are fingerstyle guitar, you should be able to at least see what kind of patterns they're doing. There are more complex patterns. So yeah, guys, those are the basics of fingerstyle guitar. You can play fingerstyle guitar on any guitar, but classical guitar and flamenco guitar are basically the ones that are well known for doing it. If you're talking just generic expectations, electric guitar usually is played with pick. A classical guitar is usually played with the fingers, but you can break the rules. Nobody's gonna care. Classical guitar players, a lot of them actually grow out their picking hand fingernails a little bit, half an inch or a quarter inch or something, just to get that tone. It makes a difference. It's not just the smooth sound of the fingers, it's more the fingernail sound that they're going for. And they can also tap the guitar, especially in flamenco guitar. That's a topic for another day. So yeah, that's it, guys. Let me know what kind of videos you want me to do next. Please hit subscribe if you haven't. We'll see you in the next video.